Okay, thank you, everybody. Take a nice deep breath, and we're putting this, all of what Igor has said, into action. I'm going to go ahead and show you go on to the next talk, which is EBT Innovation for Prevention, the new Spiral Up free app. The head of EBT, Walt Rose, is going to be speaking to us shortly, and I believe, Igor, Walt, you're going to say a couple words, and then we're going to show a video, and then we'll have some comments afterwards. How would that be?
Great, great, perfect.
So we're not quite seeing you yet, and so I think what I have to do is unshare my screen. Is that the deal? Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go.
You see me now? Ah, there. Yes. Beautiful. Well, good morning, everybody. I think we're all excited to tell you that we listened. Last year's annual meeting, several of you, Eve Lowry, I think, led the charge, but several of you said, hey, we need a free app. We need to get this out, and the only way you're going to do it is a free app. But we're in conflict because, gee, should we really give away our intellectual property to people with a free app? And it was a lot of debate internally about it, but ultimately we said, look, we want to get it out and we want to get it to young people. So basically what we did was turn the project over to the youngest person on our staff, Michael McClure, who's a 30-something and director of our member support, and all of you know Michael. And we gave him the project to work out with our CTO, Dev Singh. And both Dev and Michael have been with the company for over 15 years. And Dev is responsible for really our whole technology platform that he's created. So they've been working on this, and we have a video of them showing the new app, the new Spiral Up app. And we feel this is really one of our major accomplishments this year. So Laurel, why don't you show the video of Michael? They couldn't be here with us today to do it live, so they did a video.
Okay, I'm going to switch over. Okay. There we go. Okay, take a nice deep breath, everyone. This goes for about 4 minutes.
I think the first thing that made me think about this app was all the people that said they loved the app we already had. And I was like, how can we make it for people who know nothing about EBT and they don't need any kind of prompts or any kind of background? They can just jump right into the app. And the first thing I thought about for how they could enter the app was kind of like a pulsing button, and it kind of mimicked a pulsing heart. And I sent that over to you, Dev, and you kind of made it happen, no problem.
Well, what I needed to do was to figure out how to create that animation where we would have a circle. I think it's two concentric circles, and they have to expand and contract. And yeah, both of them have to contract and expand evenly. So yeah, took a bit of research, but I eventually found a way to do that after some trial and error. And yeah, so that's how that came together.
That's awesome, yeah, because when I sent you the initial drawing, it was just a circle. And I said, all right, Dev, now please make this pulse. And wasn't very helpful, so that was great.
Right, I wasn't sure I could do it, actually. But like I said to you, okay, let me research and see what's out there.
And then the rest of the app, after you enter by pressing this pulsing button, which I found to be incredibly satisfying, you enter and it's basically the flow tool, which from the other app. And what we did was take away all the decision making for the user. So I thought of it as putting it on railroad tracks. Like you have no decisions, you just keep going, you plow forward until you get to the end. And then
what's really good about this app is that you don't need any pre-knowledge about what EBT is, what it's all about. You're guided right through. There's no thinking on your part or any pre-knowledge required. So it's really getting to people who just are, they're just feeling something and they want to do it.
Yeah, and then we still have those question marks that you put in so that if people do want more information, they can get it, but they don't necessarily have to. And I figured a lot of people won't, and some people will, but they don't have to. It's all intuitive. And then, so yeah, you go through it, and the last part is what we call the bullseye, which we developed in conjunction with some marketing experts and design experts. And what the bullseye is we wanted to gamify the app without bothering people. So we wanted the motivation to come from within, not a million notifications. And the bullseye, you try to fill it by doing 5 check-ins per day.
Right, yeah, so that aspect was actually, I found it's really nice because it sort of like incentivizes you to do it, right? Because I think one of the things behind EBT is that you have to do it a certain amount of times. And then how to get people to do that in a way that's not work. And I think the way that you managed to design that with the concentric colors, you get a different burst of color every time you do a check-in on a particular day. It progressively gets more and more color, and you fill in the bullseye. And so that's one sort of high you get, the joy point, I think we call it in EBT. And then that's further augmented by when you start to see your streak. If you do it, 3 or 4 days in a row, it'll say 4 days in a row, you've done 5 check-ins. And then you miss a day, and that gets reset to none. So that's a bummer. So it puts you back on track to get back to that streak that you're doing. So it's a really good way to make it fun, and at the same time, so you can keep up, so that it'll have the mental health effect that we're trying to convey.
Yeah, and I do think the crux of that, we there was a lot of debate and discussion over what to make the outside ring. Should we make it like some joyful color, or there's a lot of different decisions, and ultimately we decided on white, just kind of like clarity. We thought about it as just like this crystallized. We're not dictating anything. It's like you've achieved this white kind of halo there, and that is clarity. And now you can move through your day because you've done 5 check-ins. So.
Michael worked for that for 6 months or more, and so did Deb. I just want to pipe in there, and Walt, please continue.
Well, as you
No
said,
idea what went in.
obviously they take a lot of pride in what they've created, and we're very happy with it. It's a version, as Michael said. He said the flow tool, but it's really the Be Positive tool with Take Action. So that's what we've done. We have trademarked the term Spiral Up. So that's a trademark. That's intellectual property we own. And we expect to have it in the app stores in the next next week or so for approval in both Google and Apple app stores. We have a landing page that people can go to sign up for the free app. It's at spiralup.org, or they can access it directly from the App Store. And all they have to do is put their username, their email, and then create their own password and load the app, and they're ready to go. The good thing for us is we get their email address, and we're able then to communicate to try to incentivize them to use the app, and then possibly later down the road to make them understand that there's more to EBT than just this app. In terms of our rollout strategy, once it's up on the App Store, we're going to really have a beta test period where we work out the kinks. We'll have a few small test groups. I think Nancy Wilson's daughter is going to be a part of the daughter, and her friends are going to be part of that. Maybe we can get some pharmacy students, Igor, to maybe try it out for us. And so we can just be sure that it works and that we have a good communication system with them, and before we do a full-blown rollout. But this app is theirs to keep. There's no bait and switch. There's no time limit. Once they have it on their phone, it's theirs forever. And as I said, we hope after a beta test that we can do a launch in sometime in mid-August or early September. We've engaged a marketing firm to help us identify some influencers who can promote it to young people, and then hopefully it'll go viral from there. We also want to do some pilots in colleges and universities where we have contacts at Michigan State. I don't know if Molly Reno's on the call, but she has some contacts at Michigan, UC Davis. We might try to do a pilot, or even UCSF. So we're going to do a pilot, understand how it works in a small capacity, and then do a major promotional campaign to all universities and colleges. We all hear about the mental health crisis that students are going through right now, and this certainly can help, and it's free. We also want to offer it to nonprofits who are focusing on mental health and their members, again, to help give them another resource, another tool that they can use. And then also in public health, Laurel's given a couple of talks to public health groups, as she's mentioned. And if we can provide the free app as part of that, it's simple, it's easy to use, and that would be part of a total training program that we would envision using the app. Hopefully, some of the people that sign up for the free app will become members of the EBT. They'll upgrade either in self-study or in groups. But we want to be sure that everybody understands this is it's a preventive app for short-term stress, for situational stress. And what we call it the first step in EBT. But our current brain-based health app is really our therapeutic app. And that's for any overeating, for stress overload, for depression, anxiety, any of the things that Igor talked about earlier. The brain-based health app really is what is needed, and not the Spiral Up app. So we're excited. We're excited to offer this. We want to get this out. And our goal is to have 1 million users on the free app in 3 years. And Michael says he can do it, and we all think we can do it. And that's the way we're going to get EBT out and make people understand the value of this, and maybe hopefully their predictions about the future will be better using EBT.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, comments, questions, just take yourself off mute. Hooray, hooray.
Walt, you mentioned App Store, which is iPhone, essentially Apple. What about Android?
Oh yeah, no, Android, we're doing both. We'll have,
Both, okay.
just like our brain-based health app is
Excellent.
on both Android and so we'll get everything finalized, and then we submit an application to both app stores and they approve it, which we don't see any problem with. And it's free, so we don't have to pay anything. There's nothing in terms of fees that we need to pay, and people can just download it, put their email address in, put a password in, and start using EBT right away.
Thank you, Walt. And I'm just going to open it up to questions. And I would just say that both Dev and Michael have worked just incredibly on this, and Walt has been consulting through the whole process. Molly Reno just arrived, and I just wanted to, I hope you'll give a shout out to all the extra work this team made in order to create this beautiful product. This is very innovative. It's a new platform for us, and we'll be rebuilding the brain-based health app based on that. So it'll have those incentivizers and gamifying. So thanks so much to Michael and Dev and Walt for this. Anyone else have a question right now? I want to show you one more differentiating factor. And I'm going to go, if I can find it.
Laurel, I have a quick question while you're looking for that for Walt.
Great.
I don't remember seeing the take action tool.
first thing-
Was there a decision?
Yeah,
He didn't include that in the.
No, it is the take action, pardon me. The take action tool the limit cycle is at the end of that. That's why it
Okay.
got to.
That's what I wanted to
But
know. Thank
what
you.
the difference is, he made it like a railroad track. So
Yeah,
there's no stop where you say, okay, now you're going to do the take action. Just gives them no choice,
great.
which is actually appropriate. It's a great innovation.
Mm-hmm. It's wonderful. I'm so glad you're offering this.
So let's look at
I
the
think the first-
next one here. I want to just go just to support what Walt just said, and thank you very much for that presentation. This is not a solution, it's a first step. And if they move to this, and by the way, the lowest cost membership on EBT, which is $9.99, is not just the app, it includes the whole program, including Angie and I and other people show up, and Judy, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so we can have drop-in workshops. So they get provider attention, plus the whole program and this app. And you can see this is the therapeutic app with all the additional safety features and nurturing features and the more complete EBT program. We know they need these to get at the bottom of the brain. And so first we're going to give them a really nice, gentle introduction. And if they want more, they can come to this. Is there any question about the difference between the treatment app, which is brain-based health by EBT, and the Spiral Up preventive app? Any more questions about that? Okay, thank you, Walt. Beautifully done. And I know that Michael and Deb will be looking in. Special thanks to them. Okay, take a nice deep breath, everybody. I said that we'd be rolling through, and we definitely are, but each speaker is so special, and what they have to say is so important to our overall work as a community that we will be moving along, so you can hear and experience and feel each of these individuals with their ideas. And we're now moving to the mental health crisis and serving the underserved. And Erin Testa, who's the director of research, master trainer, and also very involved in Marin County now with the underserved, the homeless, and others that are most at risk. So Erin, I'm gonna stop share here, and whenever you'd like to begin.
Thank you, Laurel. Thanks for the introduction, and Igor and Walt and Michael and Dev. That was a perfect segue into a lot of what I'm going to talk about, and I won't have to repeat it now. So really appreciate that, and I'm going to do my best. In fact, I'm going to set an alarm for myself here so that when I get to 8 minutes, I will know. My name is Erin Testa. As Laurel said, I am the clinical director of EBT. I learned about EBT for the first time about a week before I was wonderfully, honorably chosen by Laurel to support her with a National Institute of Health research study with pregnant, overweight mothers, in a study called the MOMS study. And that was back in 2011. And so it's been a long, wonderful journey ever since. And a lot of what I was going to talk about today changed when I woke up this morning. and that's part of how I'll sort of introduce myself. Igor, I guess you were the one who said the theme of this is inspiration, the theme of today's. Is that right, Laurel? That was sort of the theme of today. And I went to bed thinking about what I was going to discuss about the mental health crisis and underserved communities. Right now, I am working, as of October, I started working with the Marin Housing Authority as a clinical supervisor, running a team of case managers that serve our county's absolute most vulnerable. It's those neighbors that are unhoused. It's domestic violence survivors and people who are currently experiencing that. It's foster youth who are transitioning out of the foster care system. It's folks experiencing mental health disparities, challenges, and substance use challenges. So all of these folks are typically not necessarily in the past considered a population that many insurance carriers and other service providers get much funding or resources for. That's starting to change, thankfully. It's changing in a really big way, but it's slow and subtle. And one of the things that Laurel and I talked about when I met with her yesterday, she spoke to somebody and learned that, you know, in the foster care system, about 40% of the providers are, they've left the profession. And for those of you working in public health and other service-oriented professions, that's kind of the way it is across the board. And so we've got 60% of providers now serving 100% of the folks. And that's putting a large amount of stress on them. And so as I speak about supporting underserved populations, I'm also including here those who provide the support and services for that. Their ability to show up as we like to in EBT as an appropriate mirror, somebody who can see, hear, and feel somebody else, comes from a place of being able to have that experience with themselves. And so they are in critical need of EBT at this time. All of my staff was pretty much ready to quit before I started. And it's been really difficult with the pandemic, not being able to see people face to face. And now we're doing that again. You know, people were dying that we were able to house, and they were dying on the streets, and we couldn't see them or check in on them. So there's been a large allostatic load throughout the whole system that's rippled through everybody. And so I've noticed almost an immediate sense of hope in my colleagues when I introduce them to EBT. And it really has to start with them and then trickle out, sort of have this, feeling the inspiration for it themselves and then sharing that with others, as many of you have experienced, right? Once you feel it, it just sort of pours out of you and you can't help but share it with others. And so I'm seeing almost an immediate response to that. Going back to inspiration, when I woke up this morning, and EBT reminds me of this, the first thing that you think is a really important thing to pay attention to, right? So try to interrupt it if it's something sort of allostatic to, I am creating joy in my life. But this morning it was Abraham Maslow, which sort of took me aback, and I'll explain why. I grew up not really thinking I was very intelligent or smart. I didn't have many resources. I grew up in Stockton around lots of gang violence and other, disparities. And I have to say, I didn't really know it was a disparity then because I just lived it. I had my own personal challenges in my home where there was just a lot of challenges. And so, by the time college came around, I was surprised that was something that would be interesting to me, but it was. And so I went to college, and I never imagined going beyond my bachelor's degree into my doctoral program, which I did. I only applied to one school. It's called the Wright Institute, and it's in Berkeley. I don't know why I only applied there. But it was a school begun by Abraham Maslow and Nevitt Sanford, and they were professors over at Berkeley at the time. And it was a social justice reform system for that school. And I guess that interested me. Something about that felt very compatible for my experience in life and potentially my purpose. And when I was interviewed, I went into the Maslow library, and all I knew about Abraham Maslow, and perhaps many of you who know that name, is the hierarchy of needs. Can I get a raise of hand if you have heard of the hierarchy of needs? All right. Yeah. Okay. So this theory was in every Psychology 101 book, every basic psychology book. And it's this pyramid right here. I'm going to see if I can share my screen here. All right, can everybody see that? Yeah, maybe thumbs up.
Yeah.
Okay, great.